Say hello before we stream. All right. While you're getting ready to stream this, I can say hello. Hey guys, hello, hello, hello. We're streaming and we're live, and look at everybody showing up. Oh my goodness, this is so much fun. All right, I hope you all had a great weekend. If you were here in Texas, it's a hot one, baby. It was 97, 98 already in Texas. It was actually even too hot to be outside. So I'm so glad that you're here. I think, how many of you got to see Donald Miller when he was in Anaheim Live? It was just, you know what? This is the deal about him, is that, and those of you that have been around for a while, you know, we have a speaker that shows up at a national conference, and maybe we talk about him or her for like a week, you know, and then, you know, that information, we all took notes and maybe we gleaned a nugget from it. But Donald Miller, I got to tell you, it's a conversation that keeps going on and on and on. Let me see, Jamie on. Jamie and I are part of a synergy marketing task force. And we're going to be meeting with the home office on Thursday with some marketing ideas. And we keep going back to Donald Miller. So we're going to review some of his work tonight, because there's a reason why the field is still so excited about him and using some of his information. So let me tell you a little bit about him. I'm just going to read it. Here's his short bio. He's an American author, public speaker, and business owner. He is the CEO of Story Brand, and that's what we're going to be looking at tonight. It's a marketing company, and he's also authored personal essays and reflection about his faith and God and self-discovery. He's a pretty amazing guy. And, you know, he starts his program by saying most companies spend way too much money on marketing, and most marketing is completely ineffective. So, you know, who was it that said there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come? And so with that, Amelia, we're going to show two different clips. Each clip is 9 minutes. Want you guys, pen and paper, write down something that he says that really resonates with you. All right, Amelia.
Now, we're going to switch gears to something else that you detail out in the book. And this is, again, going to be an exercise. And we want you on Facebook to engage as well. Now, Don's going to walk you through this. And then our audience is going to go through this as well. We're going to give you a little bit of thinking and writing time. And then, again, we're going to have some more of our live audience members go through this with Don. So, Don, we're going to take him through this idea of a one-liner.
Right.
What do you mean by that? And how can we all create a one-liner?
Well, a one-liner is one sentence that explains what you do or what you offer in such a way that you capture the most people's attention. And so it comes from the movie industry. A one-liner is what describes a film. So when you say Jason Bourne has forgotten who he really is, but he's, you know, it makes me go, ooh, I'd like to see that, right? I'd like to see that movie because all the suspense is in that one line. Now, a one-liner, every screenwriter knows if you create a good one-liner for your screenplay, it's worth $50,000 to $500,000 if you could sell that screenplay. And then it goes into your phone 2 years later and you're looking for a movie and you read that one sentence, that could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. You got to really nail it. What we tend to do is when somebody asks what we do, we say, you know, my grandfather started the company, or worse, we say, well, it's kind of complicated. What do you say when you say it's complicated? You're saying you're gonna have to do a lot of math in your head and it's probably not gonna be worth your time, but here I go. Well, they're not gonna stick with you, right? We wanna say something that attracts them right away, that makes them interested in what we're offering. So I'm gonna take you through it.
Sorry, guys. I'm wondering if I just lost internet.
If you lost internet, would you still be able to Zoom?
No. it's totally stuck.
I know you have some storms going on there.
Yeah, hold on one sec. We can do this.
Okay.
Way that makes them interested in what we're offering. So I'm going to take you through an exercise. It's a 3-part sentence, or it could be multiple sentences, but it's a one-liner. It's something you can say really quickly. And somebody says, what do you do? I want you to say this, right? And it works like this. The first thing is we want to ask ourselves, most businesses struggle to talk about what they offer. We have a process that helps them clarify their message so companies get growing again. What we want to do in our one-liner, there's 3 parts. It's identify your customer's problem. This is the first part of your one-liner. You're going to open with the problem. When I walk on stage and give a speech, I don't say, my name is Donald Miller, and I've been living here in Nashville a long time, and I'm married to a wonderful woman named Betsy, and we have a chocolate lab named Lucy, and we have a dog named Jude Carter, and I'm very glad to be with you today. Why? It doesn't start a story. I walk to the center of the stage and I say, we have a serious problem. We're wasting money on marketing. And you have no idea who I am. And I don't care if you don't know who I am, because it's not about me, it's about you, right? I open up with your problem. That's what starts a story. A story is a character that has a problem. And the sooner you can get to the problem, the sooner you can get to the hook. And now they're interested, you see? And so, if I'm selling a product, then I want to start with that problem because it makes the product valuable. I say, you know how you sometimes drop your phone in the toilet? Well, I invented the toilet net. Okay, that's not a good example, but I stole that from some comedian. Anyway, so you want to identify your problem. So what is your customer's problem? And you want to say, most people struggle with, or do you know how a lot of people feel about this? Or a lot of people are afraid to go to the dentist because they're afraid it's going to hurt really bad. So when you say, hey, what do you do for a living? You say, well, you know how a lot of people hate going to the dentist because they're afraid it's going to hurt really bad. We actually have all the modern technology. You don't feel a thing. Most people, because of the laughing gas we use, they actually love going to the dentist. They come even when they don't have a toothache. Right? So you want to identify your customer's problem. Second, you want to explain your plan to help them. Now, this is where you can mention your product, how your product differentiates in the market. But basically, you want to explain, here's what we do that solves the problem. So it's the problem, and then what I do that solves the problem. And then finally, third, the successful ending to their story. Most people struggle with this, but we created this thing so they don't have to struggle anymore and they actually enjoy life, and it looks like this for them. What is that? It's the summary of a story. But it's a summary of a story that you're inviting them into. So those are the 3 parts of your one-liner. Now here's our one-liner. Most businesses struggle to talk about what they offer. We have a process that helps them clarify their message so their company starts growing again. That's my one-liner. And I memorized this, and when the Uber driver says, what do you do? I say that. And inevitably, they're handing me their business card, or they go to their website, they buy one of my products, because I just opened a story loop in their brain that they want to close. I walk them down a path that they now want to walk themselves. And that's the essence of a one-liner. What's your customer's problem? A couple things. You want to be specific. Don't be vague. A lot of people don't enjoy their lives. Okay, well, I don't know, that's a little bit too vague. Also, make sure it's a pain point. They need to feel this problem. What you're looking for is for them to say, that's me. That's me. I have that, right? That's my problem. You're looking for them to identify themselves in the problem. Third, get it down to a soundbite. This is short. Again, you have to work on this a little bit, but it's worth the work, I promise. Make it super, super brief. Let's look at a pet store. Pet owners are concerned about what their pets are really eating. Well, it wasn't until you said that. So I just agitated a problem. Here's a financial advisor. Most people can't get their heads around their financial future. How many of you feel that way? You're in business. It's like, yeah, I actually can't get my head around my financial future. I don't know if I'm rich or poor. I think I'm rich, but I don't know. Yeah. Used car sales. Hey, you know how nobody likes to haggle with a used car salesman? Can you imagine if somebody said that to you and they're a used car salesman at a cocktail party? You'd be like, I'm buying my next car from this guy. He gets it. He understands my pain. All right, next is the plan, the part 2. You want to make it feel like a new idea. Never heard that before. It's a differentiator. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know you could go to a used car dealer without haggling. So it's a differentiator. Make it understandable. Make sure it's not so elusive they can't understand it, and make it brief. Let's look at the pet store. Pet owners are concerned about what their pets are really eating. Here's the second part. So we source our food from trusted local vendors, right? And so now you're going, oh, I've never heard of a pet. At first, I don't know what my dog is eating. It's probably not healthy, but you're making sure it is, okay? Financial advisor. Most people can't get their heads around their financial future. So we created a financial map that puts all your info on a weekly dashboard. That's the differentiator. That's the resolution to my problem. Lastly, used cars. Nobody likes to haggle with a used car salesman, so we remove the salesman entirely. You can choose and test drive a car hassle-free. By the way, people are making billions of dollars with that exact business plan. They removed the resistance from the actual process. And third, you describe a happy ending to their story. Make it the controlling idea of your business. That means all your employees are trying to get people to this thing. You know, you would think that StoryBrand was in the business of clarifying your message. That's just our product. That's not what we're in the business of. We're in the business of increasing your revenue. We have a whole Slack channel that's just dedicated to, I doubled my sales. This person wrote in, they're seeing huge increases, blah, blah, blah. And that's the motivator for our entire company. We've got to get these people money. That's the controlling idea, is the resolution, the happy ending to their story is the business you're really in. Not the selling product, it's the happy ending that you're in the business in. Make it something they actually want, so they don't go, that sounds interesting, but I don't know if I want that, right? So I wouldn't say, so you can have a ton of flowers at your event. That's not the controlling idea, so that everybody will think that you gave the best event of the year. That's the happy ending, right? And the flowers are just the product that gets me the happy ending, but I'm actually the person who sells the happy ending. Okay, so let's look at them all together. Pet owners are concerned about what their pets are really eating, so we source our food from trusted local vendors, which ensures your pet stays happy and healthy. There it is. Three statements, one-liner. Most people can't get their heads around their financial future, so we created a financial map that puts all your info on a weekly dashboard, giving you peace of mind about your finances. That's the result. Used car sales. Nobody likes to haggle with the car salesman, so we remove the salesman entirely. You can choose and test drive a car hassle-free, so you have a peaceful experience getting the car that you want. That's what a one-liner is. Now, what do we do with our one-liners? We have to repeat the one-liner hundreds of times before the masses will actually hear it. That means you use the exact same language over and over. I want you to do a lot with this one-liner. I want you to memorize it and be able to repeat it over and over. That means you're going to write it and you're going to put it on an index card and you'll put it in your pocket and you'll carry it with you for months. And when you're at the grocery store, you're going to pull it out and you're going to read it. It's going to be really unnatural for you to break the habit of rambling when somebody asks what you do. But it's an important habit to break. So you want to memorize it, okay? And then you want to teach it to your entire team. When you teach the one-liner to your entire team, you convert everybody on your team into a sales force. Everybody. You sit next to somebody at a baseball game, they say, what do you do? Who do you work for? They're going to repeat the one-liner. So the way you do that is you go down to the bank and you get a giant wad of $5 bills.
Okay.
All
We're going
right.
to pause there.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me have a conversation. All right. Hey, anybody want to pipe in? What did you learn? What did you write down? What's significant to you? One of the things that we learned early on from Donald Miller was that, the brain is wired to do two things, survive and thrive. And one of the things I learned from the first time that I watched him speak was that we have to present our product in such a way is so that they will feel that this is going to help them survive. So anybody want to share anything before we go into the second part of a little bit of learning from Donald Miller? Okay, so number one, he said, identify your customer's problem. Okay, make the product valuable, be specific. Okay. So, and then he said, number two, explain your plan. And then number three, describe a happy ending. Now, what we're going to watch next is a little different, but let's just kind of play with this for a little bit. You're at a basketball game and the woman sitting next to you says, so what do you do? Well, you could start off by saying, well, you know how most moms struggle to get their kids to eat more fruits and vegetables, and you know how taxing that is, and you know how burdensome that is. And the woman says, yeah, I do. I actually do. Because what mom can't resonate with that? So then you can say, well, my company found a way to take plants, turn them into a powder, put them in a soft chew for kids. And I've got to tell you, kids absolutely love it. It's like, it's food in a capsule. And here comes the happy ending. And I have to tell you, we have like 1 million kids eating these chewables around the planet, and kids are getting healthy because it's the real thing. I don't know. There you have it. How does that sound? Anybody have any takes on that?
That's like you practiced it before, Terry, and you've been working on it all day. I think you just did that on the spot, though. Oh my
I
goodness.
know.
Because I wanted to contribute something. Yeah. Okay. So take this mom. Okay. All right. So you're sitting at the soccer field maybe the next week, and you're building a relationship with this woman. And, before we get to her problem, she says, what do you do? And you'll say, well, you know how most moms struggle with, getting a really good breakfast into their kids before they go out the door. Have you ever struggled with that? And she goes, oh, are you kidding me? Of course I've struggled with that. You could say, well, I've struggled with that too. That's why I partnered with my company, because we found a way to get the most dense, nutritious meal into kids. As a matter of fact, Dr. Sears, America's pediatrician, calls it brain food for kids. And I have to tell you, kids perform better. Here's the happy ending. Kids perform better in the classroom. Blah, blah, blah. They miss fewer days of school. What we're going to learn in the second part of his message is that part 3 is where you come from authority. And coming from authority and competence means that we can share our stats. All right, that was just another example.
Right.
guys-
And he also said to walk them down the path that they want to walk, that they don't even know they need to
Well,
go down.
What mom doesn't want her kids to eat more fruits and vegetables, and what mom doesn't struggle with getting a healthy breakfast into their kids, right?
Right.
All right, let's go watch part 2.
Okay.
Let's go see with Donald Miller, because this is, it's a little different, but still the same.
Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller provides business owners with a proven framework they can use to simplify their messaging with the proven methods of storytelling, allowing them to cut through the noise, get their customers' attention, and grow their businesses. The framework Miller suggests is basically as follows. A character has a problem and meets a guide who gives them a plan and calls them to action that helps them avoid failure and end in a success. Countless movies, novels, and TV shows follow this framework because it speaks in an extremely compelling way to our shared human needs of survival, safety, relationships, and self-actualization. Starting with the character. Many businesses are confused about who this even is. To be clear, your customer is the character in this story, not your business. If you're positioning your business as the main character in your marketing, at best it won't connect, and at worst, it positions your company as a competing hero in your customer's story. The thing is, every single human being, including your customers, view themselves as the hero of their own stories, even in totally mundane and non-dramatic ways. So to compel your customers, you need to tell a story where they are the hero. All good stories revolve around the question, will the hero get what she wants? And until the audience knows what the hero wants, they're likely to tune the story out. So it's crucial you understand and can clearly articulate what exactly customers want in the context of your business. To be truly compelling, this want needs to tap into your customer's sense of survival. Not necessarily literal survival, but universal human needs like the need to conserve time and resources. to build social networks and gain status within them, to accumulate resources and give some away, and to have a sense of meaning in our lives. This ensures that you're telling a story with enough stakes to hold people's attention. And now we can move on to our second point. A character has a problem. Every good story needs a villain. And while your villain certainly doesn't need to be an actual person, it should have some personified characteristics. This villain should be a root source, not a feeling. For example, frustration is not a villain, but an outdated, time-consuming process that makes us feel frustrated certainly could be. The villain should also be relatable and singular. Even if your business sells into multiple industries or has several different product lines, if you try to squeeze too many villains into your story, it will lack clarity. And finally, this villain needs to be real. You're trying to tell a story that customers will relate to, not fearmonger about nonsense. Now, the problem that our character faces should have three levels to it: an external, an internal, and a philosophical. External problems are the nuts and bolts, real world problems that our character has to overcome. For example, I need to make my quota this quarter. Internal problems revolve around the question of, do I have what it takes? And many companies miss this entirely because they're only talking about external problems. And finally, philosophical problems deal with questions of justice, fairness, and good versus evil. To see how this works, let's say we sell a tool that helps salespeople have more intelligent conversations with their prospects. Our villain? Hours of prospect research that doesn't give us the information we need. Our character's external problem? They need to hit their sales quota. Our character's internal problem? They're confused where to find the right information and fearful of failure. And our character's philosophical problem? It shouldn't take them hours of research to find the 5 things they need to know going into a sales conversation. The next step in the formula is where your company comes in. The character meets a guide. To position your company as a guide, you need to understand that characters are really looking for 2 characteristics: empathy and authority. By empathy, we don't mean pity. We mean a deep understanding of your character's problems and an eagerness to help. And by authority, we really mean competence. You want to show that you've helped other characters down this path before. Now that we're trusted to be that guide, we can move on to the next step: giving our character a plan. This can be broken into 2 parts: the process plan and the agreement plan. The process plan lays out the steps that a customer needs to take in order to do business with us. It can be as simple as 1, schedule an appointment; 2, create a customized plan; and 3, execute and review key performance indicators. This step might seem too obvious to even mention, but you'd be surprised how many businesses make it confusing to figure out how to even become their customer. Spelling this out is crucial, and it alleviates doubts that are inevitably in the back of your customer's mind. The agreement plan is essentially a service level agreement, but massively simplified. It needs to tell your customer, here are the 3 to 5 things you can 100% count on once you're our customer. So now that we've laid out a plan for our customer to follow, we'll move on to the next stage, calling them to action. Characters need to be called to action because audiences know that people don't typically just wake up one day and decide to completely change their lives unless someone or something challenges them to do so. We often make the mistake of thinking customers can read our minds, that they obviously know we want them to buy from us, but really, they don't. So we need to send an obvious message to them to take this step now, to begin on the path to getting what they want. These messages exist in 2 broad categories: direct calls to action and transitional calls to action. Direct calls to action lead directly to sales. They're the buy now button, schedule an appointment, or call today. These calls should be prominently featured on your website and other materials. There should be zero confusion where your customer needs to go when they're ready to take action. And if they're not ready to take action yet, that's okay. You'll want to provide them transitional calls to action. These are often calls to view educational content like blog posts, videos, infographics, or webinars, sometimes in exchange for contact information. The content behind these transitional calls to action gives your company another opportunity to present yourself as a worthy guide. So eventually your customer will feel comfortable responding to your direct calls to action. So now their character has been called to action. Will they fail or succeed? First, we'll talk about the failure that we're going to help them avoid. What will my customers lose if they don't buy my product? Is a question that understandably makes many of us cringe. It's absolutely true that fear mongering is bad practice on both a moral and a practical level. But many businesses actually suffer from the opposite problem. They're telling a story that doesn't have any stakes. And a story without stakes is wholly forgettable. Think of fear like salt in a recipe. Not enough, and your story will be bland and forgettable. But too much, and you'll completely ruin it. Think about the external, internal, and philosophical outcomes you're helping your customers avoid, and remind them of those stakes. Just be careful not to overdo it. Finally, we need to talk about what life looks like when our character succeeds in getting what they want. There are 3 types of endings you can think about when telling the story of your customer's success. The first is the character winning power or position. This taps into our survival instinct to be well regarded within the tribe. The second is some type of union that makes the character whole. This taps into our instinct to be in relationship with others. For example, a reduced workload allowing the hero to spend more time with their family. And third, there is the self-realization or the self-acceptance that makes a hero whole. This can be the hero realizing that they really did have what it takes to succeed, and they had it in them all along. To buy this book for yourself, check the link in the description below. It's a great read filled with details that I didn't have time to get to in this video. And be sure to subscribe for more marketing book summaries.
I have never seen anyone purchase a speaker's tools as much as I'm seeing the Juice Plus community buying Donald Miller's, there we go, buying Donald Miller's tools. So what that tells me is that there's a need out in the field for this. And just FYI, just know it's a big part of our selling point when we meet with the home office on Thursday. We would like a website that mirrors more his story brand ideas. But so, you know, it's almost 8 o'clock, but some of the things that he talked about, okay, suppose somebody doesn't ask you, what do you do, right? Because very often people don't ask us what we do, but we're in communication, we're talking to people, and problems start to come up. You know, people talk about, what do people talk about? How, you know, their health, the health of their children. People talk about their needs, their wants. And so we have to get really good at identifying what the problem is. And this is not new. We have to get good at asking questions. And one of the things that was really clear to me was the empathy example. And most of us are good at this, but here, I just wrote down a couple empathy statements that I thought I would share with you. You know, I get you. Wow. I hear you. I get you. I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from. I understand what kind of a struggle this must have been for you. And then this goes right back to Donald Miller from Anaheim Live. You know, I really don't want you to deal with this anymore, or I have something that I think could help you. So those are just some great empathy statements. I love, I get you, I hear you, I understand. You know, people want to be validated. And then the piece about confidence, you know, being able to say, this is what Juice Plus can do for you. This is what Juice Plus can do for you. So anybody else have any takeaways that you could share that we could all learn from? Unmute yourself, please. All
I
right.
mean, I can tell you, I have 1,001 because I've been going through the book and doing it, doing his My Story brand. You can go online and do it there, and you could do one for each separate product. But that we complicate this like you would not believe. And when you go through his, you read the chapter and you go through this and you're trying to come up with a line, and then you realize it's 3 sentences, if that. So I guess what I was saying is keep it simple.
Yeah. You know, one of the things, Pamelia, that he said when he was in Anaheim was that, you know, when you're having a conversation with someone, that they're starting to really share what their need, their want, or their desire, their pain point, you know, to say, if it's true, you know, hey, you know, I have struggled with that myself, or, you know, I know people who have struggled with that too. It's just his whole technique is a really bold way to represent Juice Plus, because he said, if you give them too much information, you lose them. And how many times have we?
Yep.
Yeah. And
Sure
clear is kind, you know, and we've been hearing that for a long, long time now, when people really get really quickly. So one of the things that
Terry,
yes.
Terry, Derek has been trying to share something. I'd like to hear what he has to share. He's had his hand up. He wants to share. And
Well,
I'd
he
love
needs to
hear it.
unmute himself.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
I was earlier. I was just kind of agreeing with what you said because I had never heard of Donald Miller. Keith had sent me this information to get on. So he made some huge points that I didn't even think about using. Like we, you know, like as a coach and a trainer, you know, we think we know it all, but less is better. And I'm going to really change how I speak to people and really just focus on their problem. I think that's the main thing, is if you focus on their problem that they're having, and then you're able to solve it with a couple of sentences and just let them speak how we can help them, you know?
Don't you guys feel that I think one of our biggest struggles is that, you know, Juice Plus has an identity problem. You know, people really don't know what, you know, the name is out there, but very few people really know what Juice Plus is. You know, they think it's a juice. Oh, I've heard about that before. And one of the things that I'm learning how to do is to get really clear. And this, I think, goes to what you're saying, Derek, about being very, very clear, very concise, say less, is that, you know, Juice Plus is fruit, vegetable, and berry powders. And how does the word supplemental food resonate with you?
I like that. Good.
Supplement, it's fruits, vegetables, and berry powders. What can I tell you? It's supplemental food. It's not a supplement, but it is supplemental food. You know, that, and then whatever part, you know, part of the answer to their solution, to whatever part of the answer to whatever their problem is. But see how that word, do me a favor, throw that word out a couple times this week, supplemental food, and see what kind of reaction you get to that.
You know, Terry, you said sometimes people don't ask you, what do you do? But you can urge that or coax that by saying, what do you do? Asking them. And a lot of times they'll come back and ask you, what do you do?
There you go.
I think part of what he says is, you know, shut up and listen. Sorry,
That's true.
I'm
You're
tired.
right on.
He's just trying to get my point across.
You're right on. You're spot on. Shut up and listen.
Right. And Derek, I would say, go get the book and go watch him on YouTube, because he is so powerful. Or go back and watch, it should be up soon, him speaking at conference, if you didn't hear all of it. It was amazing.
I have a feeling he's going to be back. Not that a little bird told me that, but I have a feeling. I have a feeling he's going to be back. Okay, because he is in hot demand. I don't know. I just really resonate with so much about what he said. I love that we can, you know, we can be authentic and say, you know what, you shouldn't have to struggle with that anymore.
Quick question.
Yeah.
How does he compare to Ditch the Pitch and Teamsy. How would you say these three programs?
I can do that in
Yeah.
3 sentences. Teamsy is a CRM. It's a customer relation management system, and it has some added things. Ditch the pitch is getting rid of our throwing up the story on people, right? And Donald Miller is KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And it's just bare bones. That's my take. So I've done all three, and I can complicate anything. And he literally just, Donald Miller, like, I get it, just keep it simple, and it makes it short, sweet, and to the point. And that's what people want. That's what I want. I don't want to go watch a 30-minute video unless I have a problem in that area.
Yeah.
Just make it simple. Okay.
So,
Right.
all right.
I'm a little passionate there, sorry.
That's okay. Did that answer your question, Derek?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because it would appear that it's two totally different interpretations, But I think the thing about ditch the pitch was that the number one thing was learn who your prospect is, which goes hand in hand with this. And I think one of the greatest things that came out of ditch the pitch was, getting rid of the but in a conversation. Get rid of the but, and everything is oh, yes, and. Is so much more effective. It takes people out of that defensive mode. So get rid of the but, the yes and that's something obviously that you can use here as well. All right. Anybody else have any comments?
Terry, I like the simplicity too. I've been running through my head 3 simple sentences that I could possibly use. I encounter a lot of seniors. So something like, it's really scary, the number of people today who are suffering from dementia, Alzheimer's, or Parkinson's. And I have a passion for prevention. And I love the new research that's come out about research on Juice Plus in the brain, because I feel it's a real privilege to age and age with good health. So I was able to condense everything listening to him. Get it short. Yeah. I like that.
And you know what? You're so vibrant, Margie. I bet that works real well for you.
Well, I encounter a lot of seniors like myself.
Yeah, it's so valid. And seniors that are looking,
Exactly.
they're looking.
I like that passion for prevention. That is dynamite right there.
Mhm.
Wow. Passion for prevention. Hashtag that one. That's a good one.
Right.
All right, guys, that's it. I'm supposed to jump on another call here in a couple minutes. I want to thank you for coming out tonight. How many of you were able to take a peek at the gastroenterologist couple from Mexico City? Gosh, their presentation was awesome. So many people didn't see that. We're going to take a look at that next week, okay? So thanks for keep taking notes. I want to know how we're doing with this. I would love to come up with a statement that we can all use, because we're not all just talking to moms. Maybe we have to identify who's your audience and then have your statement. But Juice Plus meets the needs of so many people in so many arenas. I think coming up with something that we can all use would be helpful.
All right.
Good to
Thanks,
see you.
Carrie.
Have a good
Thank
week,
you.
guys.
Thank
All right.
you. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Good night.
Good night.